Well, Tillerson, who arrived in Kuwait on Monday, will shuttle between Kuwait, Qatar and Saudi Arabia until Thursday in what's seen as the first serious intervention by Washington into the recent Gulf crisis. Well, to bring us more on this, France 24's Rob Parsons joins me in the studio. Rob, good to have you. There's a pretty big challenge here for Tillerson, who seems to be at odds in some respects with his boss over this Gulf crisis.
Yes, they don't seem to be on the same page at all. Remember, Donald Trump's first foreign visit was to Saudi Arabia. The Saudis took that pretty much, given the apparent enthusiasm of Donald Trump for the Saudis' position, the amount of support he was giving them during that visit. The Saudis seem to have taken that as a green light to press ahead with their action with the others against Qatar. Rex Tillerson's approach has been rather more subtle than his boss's, but it's not at all clear that his boss shares his opinion. Part of the problem, I think, is here they're coming from completely different points of view. And also, who is actually in control of Middle East policy in the White House? We know that Jared Kushner, Donald Trump's personal advisor, is regarded as being, at least by Donald Trump, as the man who he goes to on Middle Eastern policy. He is close to the United Arab Emirates ambassador in Washington. Rex Tillerson, on the other hand, as a former boss of Exxon, developed close ties over the years with Qatar. And at the moment, we seem to be seeing two completely different directions pulling apart. Strangely, the Secretary of State going on a mission of this importance doesn't seem to have the support of his boss back in Washington. So confusion is the message that's being sown, and one has to ask, given that, whether any results are likely to be achieved.
So a tricky situation, as you say, two directions being explored there. Remind us what's at the heart of this. Why is it that Saudi Arabia is putting such pressure on Qatar?
Well, the divisions between Qatar and the others go back a long way, but in more recent times, I suppose you could go back as far as the Arab Spring. Qatar, through its media outlets, in particular Al-Jazeera in Arabic, gave a lot of support to the Arab Spring, and then and since has allowed a lot of people with views which are anathema to Saudi Arabia to appear on its airwaves. Part of the problem is that the Saudi Arabia, Bahrain, United Arab Emirates, and more recently, since the Muslim Brotherhood were pushed out by General Sisi in Egypt as well, have been alarmed what they see as a complete diversion from the position of the rest, including the Gulf Cooperation Council, from Qatar. They're not on the same page at all. They believe that Qatar is interfering, meddling inside internal affairs of all four countries, and they're trying to put a stop to it.
So if they're not on the same page, Rob, is there any grounds for optimism at this stage?
Absolutely none, I would say, given the fact that there's so much confusion on the part of the United States, given the fact that the Saudis have made it clear that there's going to be zero tolerance towards Qatar, given the fact that Qatar itself is so determined to press ahead and says that the 13 demands made by the four are completely without reason under international law and designed to strip them of their sovereignty. It's very difficult, given those circumstances, to see that any sort of progress is going to be made. That is disastrous for US policy in the region. It pushes Qatar into the hands, first of all, of Iran, but to a slightly lesser degree to Turkey as well, which has armed forces inside Qatar. And it makes it much more difficult to present a united front in the battle against terrorism in the region.
OK, Rob Parsons, our International Affairs Editor. Thank you.